Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and where were we? Ah yes, halfway through building the lovely new Brick Cross station. Well, let's pick up where we left off. Well, I've done two sets of bags to kick us off because they're pretty much doing the same thing, just on different sides. And wow, we're really starting to enclose things now. We've got the internal sign for Newsbrick and these lovely sort of slatted windows on all three sides. And then the sign for the end of Dark Ages, which is the name of the cafe on the end there. Very nice logo as well. You know me, I love a good bit of Lego signage, so I think that looks absolutely fantastic. And I also love these pillars coming out at the top to support the roof on all sides as well. And I'm kind of thinking with all of these 1x2 rounded plates sort of breaking it up every now and then that they look very much like drain pipes, and maybe they are. You know, when you've got one of these open kind of public buildings, they sometimes have the drain pipes on the inside for the complicated roof. So yeah, I think that looks absolutely fantastic. Hopefully it's not dripping on our show-off piano player. You always wonder why they are coming there to play a piano. Anyway, yeah, the other side of that wall on this one is including the sort of hood extractor fan over the oven there, and hob with a nice door in there. We've got the door to come to sort of close off that wall, and this one's fairly plain. In fact, it's got a bit of colour leakage on it, but I don't think that can really be avoided. We've made the outside a little bit more grand with some pyramids and so on, so yeah, it's looking absolutely fantastic. Now there's one more thing that went on the inside of this that was sticker based, and that is a lovely departures board and arrivals. So yeah, I think that is a very good sign as well. It's got the lovely logo for the train network, of course, and all sorts of sort of punny Lego-ish names for all of those places. And it just shows this is a relatively small station in between two terminus, basically, in that they sort of all arrive and you've got 1 minute to get on before it departs. In fact, shouldn't that be the other way around? No, hold on, that's right, isn't it? Yeah, so the departure should be after the arrival, shouldn't it? Have I put the stickers on wrong? Hopefully I haven't. If not, I can just swap the pieces round, because the departure should be after the arrival, shouldn't it? And I'm sort of assuming that that is the same train as that, but maybe it's actually that arrives and then departs 2 minutes later to go to Brickester. Anyway, whatever, it still works. But my main dilemma with this is whether to keep it in place, kind of clipped on that bit there, leaning down so people can view it. Oh wow, that looks good. Or should I instead swap it for some of my Tricks Bricks tiles? Now, you might think, well, that's blasphemy, Robin. Well, I can still use the sort of top bit here for departures and arrivals, and even have it standing out a little bit more on a 1x8 plate. But I kind of like this because these are the signs that are going to be in all of my other stations, of course. And this includes things like Brick Derby and Flying Knotsman, which are the special tiles that I had printed for just me. So we've got some trains being delayed, some on time, and really, because you want to go to Brick Derby, and the Flying Knotsman being a special service because it's kind of a tourist type thing. So yeah, I could add the same clips on there and have that leaning in there. So you'll have to let me know what you think. This one's kind of brighter. I'm going to put this one in now for the set, but do let me know if you think I should include my departure boards, because I'm going to have enough to do about 4. So if I have 2 of these in the main station, 1 here, well, I can even do one on the old corner station I've got in the city, which will probably go on the second side of the Lego room. But yeah, that does look very good in there at an angle. Wow, so we're burning through the stickers and I'm loving them a great deal. Or you might have noticed as well, I've filled in all of the 4 stud recess that I did last time with tiles, so it looks very smooth at the front. And yeah, I think we should press on with the next one. I'm dying to get that funky roof built. But I guess the next bag, which is, looks over shoulder, number 13, will probably be filling in this wall here. Cool, let's get to it. Okay, well, I've checked the instructions because I thought maybe I'd put these 2 parts on kind of back to front, and the arrivals list should have been that one and the departures that one, because it seems to me that this train here that's been delayed and this train here are the same. it either started in Piccadilly and is going to Studgate, or it started in Studgate and is going to Piccadilly. But as it stands now, which I have checked on the instructions, and it is the right way around according to them, this train is arriving at 16:18 and is then departing at 6:12. Oh, except that's been updated, hasn't it? So is that saying it's early? 16:15 it's arriving, and then it's departing the same time. So you've got no time to leap on. It'll literally come in, stop for a second, and then go off again. And you'll have to grab on with your little minifigure hands, which would imply that these two are the same train, presumably, which means it's on time arriving at 4:10, but then it's departing at 4:07. Now that doesn't work. And the same for the one before that and the one before that. So unless it's saying there are many, many, many different platforms, it just happens that one train is coming in there and a totally different one is departing there, then that's, I suppose, works. But to me, these two are clearly the same thing, and it doesn't make much sense. So yeah, maybe I've just thought about it far too much, but that's a problem I have. Anyway, I'm sticking it back in. I'm not going to think about it anymore. But yeah, I just thought I might have got it wrong. That's all. Okay, I lied. I have been thinking about it some more. I can't leave this alone. I'm such a pedant. I just noticed that there's a platform 1 for this train with a different time, and there's a platform 2 for this train. So they clearly aren't the same. So yeah, I'm just definitely not going to think about it anymore now. But yeah, don't leave me any comments about this. I've thought about it far too much already. Go on, let's get back to the build. Yep, I was right. We've filled in the gap in the middle, and wow, it is looking even better now with a big splash of colour from these flowers, continued sort of detailing on all of this ornateness, more sort of pyramids and stuff like that all over the place. But the focal point is obviously the large central clock. Very old-fashioned, but very interesting indeed. I like that a great deal above the brick cross sign for the front and our train logo, of course. I do think there's a slightly better way of doing clock hands than using these sort of grabber pieces, because they are quite chunky. If you think about that multi-part sort of toolkit that you get with some mechanic sets, I think you can put one of the wrenches into one of the other ones, and that was done on, I can't remember what it was it the town hall clock or something? Anyway, it's been on something, so check that out if you're doing a big clock. But yeah, it looks absolutely amazing. And part of the reason why this set is so good looking, I think, is because of the attention to detail, making all of these intricate parts in exactly the right place to make it have a great deal of balance. And I think that's the reason why it costs so much. There have been some criticisms that it does cost more than a regular Lego set, but that's because half these walls are made up of sort of small plates and all different pieces to make sure the geometry is absolutely perfect and looks so good. So yeah, it isn't following normal rules where they try and use the same piece as many times as possible and so on to save on cost. This has had no expense spared. So that clock on the front said 10 to 12. And both the instructions and me have done it that way, so it agrees with the clock on the back. I did notice the pedant in me again, going back to a blooming departures board, that all of the departures are about 4 o'clock, so maybe it should be set to that time anyway. But yeah, there isn't even any skimping on the back, with more details appearing here with this light and these ornate pieces here using roller skates. And one thing I didn't show you last time, but I did mention, was the sort of removal of this awning. And you know what? I don't think it even looks worse for it. And you see, it does open it up quite a bit more. So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really matter so much in my city because this is going to be facing the wall, relatively speaking. Oh dear, I've made a mess of that. But you know, I can sort that out if I wanted to, or if you wanted to with yours. So yeah, this is looking really good. Very happy with this. We're starting to really enclose that inside bit now. He's popped through, and there are even details on the inside actually that I didn't show you, including a speaker for announcements and what looks like a kind of spotlight, I suppose. It's a bit of a weird one. I guess we're getting most of our light through the roof, but on the odd occasion when it's nighttime, that does happen once a day, then we haven't really got any lights at all, actually. So the inclusion of one weird spotlight isn't my favourite, to be honest. I think we could have just assumed that they were built in somewhere else. But anyway, yeah, looks very grand from the front. And we've started to put in what I'm most interested in with that lovely lift-offable roof, we've got these sort of roof attachment pieces all in position here at the top of the drain pipes that I like so much. So yeah, it's really started to come in. I don't know what's next bag. We'll be finishing off these two before we get to that glorious roof. I'm fairly sure that is at the end, but I'm still loving it. Now, my favourite part about the End of Dark Ages build is the complete difference in build style. We've got arguably an incredibly classic sort of Victorian 200-year-old type building here, and then what's clearly a kind of glass modern structure on the side. So something else must have been here back in the day. Maybe it's where old horse-drawn carriages pulled up or something like that. But now it's got a lovely cafe. I mean, you've got a cafe on every corner nowadays, so it's very realistic, and having it in a great big glass bubble is very realistic too. I think if I had one criticism of the inside of this, is it feels a little bit low. I mean, that's a criticism I said last time about the whole build, to be fair. It just looks a little bit like someone sat on it. It could have done with a couple more brick height, or maybe even 2 on each floor to make it look a bit more grand. But then, you know, the cost probably would have got disproportionate. But if we put a minifigure in here, you'll see that they're almost scraping their head on a ceiling, which is a bit unfortunate. But it's a very nice glass box. Love that sign again on the outside. And we've even got the continuation of the plant that was growing up on the lower level. And it's quite easy to situate, he says, having a bit of trouble situating it. There we go. So yeah, that is a continued theme up there. So I really like that. That was one of those great touches by Marcos, the designer. And we've got a lovely busker at the front. We've had that idea before, but this is well done with a little sort of portable amp and microphone. And there's a bus stop, which I possibly won't include in my city because I've got a sort of standardized bus stop that I have that's a lot bigger with a shelter and different stickers on than this. But it's a really nice part of this set with the upside down 1x1 with the bus logo on both sides. And it's definitely based on the UK, this set, isn't it? Sort of West 5, bus number 9, the 211B, which, if I'm not mistaken, is actually another Lego set somewhere. So yeah, that is a really nice build. I think, like I said last time, I would like to increase the height of this, but because it's so sort of unmodular, apart from this section here and the door, it would be an absolute mammoth task just to increase the height of this. I mean, everything's integrated with its neighbours, so, you know, to increase the height wouldn't be very simple. All of those sort of drain pipes and so on the inside here, the windows on the inside, the pillars and everything else, all entwined with the two neighbours, would be an absolute disaster to get into. You might get very frustrated very quickly. I'd have to probably build it in Digital Designer or Studio first to be confident, and then do kind of a parts comparison to see how many I needed. And I'm not sure I want to do that. But anyway, we'll see at the end of today how it looks next to its neighbours. I don't mind if it's a bit smaller, but I just don't want it to be dwarfed or to look silly. But on its own, it looks a dream. Love it. Even these details on here, isn't that lovely? Very nice indeed. Well, the build is getting higher, so the camera angle has to as well, and we finally used all of the stickers. Not too many, I think, though I'm a big fan of stickers, so you may have your own opinion. But the last ones are these lovely dates at the very top. There's one on the back as well, 1958, for the building of this station. And yeah, we've got even more grandeur, more gold pieces. I think these are a bit odd. I don't know what they are, but I kind of like them, so it's all right. I really like this sort of almost wedding cakey sort of curvy surface all around what will be the ultra modern roof. You imagine that it might be a sort of modern roof, like this is a modern build here, but then again, the Victorians were very clever, so maybe they came up with that in the first place. And talking about clever roofs, I love this one over here. Not only the real dark blue here, but these pyramids. We've got pyramids all over this build, actually, front, back, and side here in white, looking really ornate on there. That kind of reminds me of one of the almost gable ends of something like Assembly Square. And when I was building this, I started putting these pieces straight onto there because I thought it was going to be quite sort of flat, and even the addition of some jumper plates to make it just stick out a little bit more, to make it even more ornate, is just an amazing touch. So yeah, I really appreciate those. I think sometimes when I build, I'm a bit stingy and try and think about sort of saving pieces wherever possible. That is not the case with this set. We've now completed our doll's house door in the side that will get trapped in the new position for this, I think. So yeah, that's the last time you'll probably see that opening. There are two grill pieces here. I think that's mainly so you can just grip it quite easily and get your hand on it. But I might get rid of those and replace them with just white tiles so it looks a bit more seamless. But that is a very, very good front look. I absolutely love it. I hope it fits perfectly with what I want to do. As I said last time as well, I'm going to have this all sort of buried with buildings. So we are going to have a building in front of this, probably about here with my current thinking. So hopefully you've got enough sort of angle in through there to sort of see news brick and this lovely roof. Otherwise it'll be a real shame. So we'll have to see how that looks. I'll be able to mock it up hopefully at the end of today's video. Then on the back we've got a slightly less impressive gable end here, but the same one as on the front for the main building of the station. So very nice indeed. So you can imagine the only thing left now is that wonderful lift-offable roof and repairing the bus stop that I've just catapulted. And I'm looking forward to that. That was one of the highlights of it. And that will make it look really visually impressive in situation, and the bit that I can lift off very easily, even from a far away distance. I guess it doesn't matter so much about that departure board now because you can barely see it, at least from this angle anyway. Very happy with this. Let's get the final bit in place and then we can give it a amorous look. Do I mean amorous look? It's the moment of truth. Dun, dun, dun. Wow, look at that for a roof. Now, this is a very complex build, actually. I don't think it would be in a regular Lego set. So definitely not anything that wasn't marked expert, because it uses 1,000,001 pieces. Again, it explains the slightly higher cost of this set than a typical one. And I've taken absolutely huge pains to make sure that all of these sort of casting marks that are on some of these pieces are all on the underside, so you don't see a single one, so the roof looks as amazing as it possibly can. So yeah, this has taken ages to get absolutely perfectly aligned, but it is very pretty and kind of ties everything together. We've got the dark red and the black from over there, we've got some grey that's been a minor highlight colour here or there, and of course the black for all of the window frames. So here we go, first put into position. And there we go. Oh, it's a bit more wibbly than I thought. Oh, hold on, push it down a bit. Oh, that's a bit better. I don't know. Well, it goes in position anyway. Oh, look at that. Oh, yes. I do like that. Marcos, you've outdone yourself with that one. Very cool indeed. And not using any sort of weird pieces at all, really. I mean, it's, how do you grab it? There we go. It's very clever just using these Technic kind of connectors in a certain order to make the distance right, probably with a lot of trial and error, then bar pieces through from those into the middle section, and then all of these 1x2s working normally to come together and continue that shape. And oh, it just beautifully mirrors this external shape here all throughout. I absolutely love that. That's brilliant. And I'm just going to have a quick stand up and look through. Yeah, you can see all the detail on the inside through there. Brilliant. Love that. Oh, do you know what? I don't think I've had that much fun doing a Lego build for quite a while. Even the old train engine shed, that was a very fun build because it was very different and felt different and was very impressive. But you know, I think I've actually learned a couple of techniques off Marcos, the designer of this set, and I'm very impressed with it. It's really got my juices flowing for how I want to do another modular. They take quite a while to design, but you know, I'm enthused. So I've got to thank him as well for that. This looks absolutely grand as anything. Cool. Well, the next thing is to get this into the Lego room, isn't it? But yeah. Overall, I think this is a definite recommend from me. 2 thumbs up. It's got a couple of building things in it that wouldn't be in a typical set, that's sort of questioned at times. A bit of colour leakage and a few of the amendments that I've made already. A few things like the clock I might change the hands on or so on. But overall, I mean, these are absolute nitpicking things. And I love the introduction of these stickers and these new sort of brands for my city. I'm very much looking forward to getting this in position. So that is what we shall do next. Okay, well, I thought I'd try this clock amendment, and basically you just need to get one of the Technic axles with the stud on the end and put that through the middle instead, and then you can use these two tools, the one with a circle on it that will go onto the stud like that, and then the one that is a torque wrench or something like that. What are those called? Yeah, one of those. And stick that in the hole like that, and then you've got a minute's hand as well. Now the problem is, in this particular case, the clock is arguably too small. Both of the hands are outside the face of the clock. So I think that isn't a good idea, but I thought I'd show it in case somebody was building a bigger clock. If it's on a kind of a 6-wide dish or something like that, it looks really good and it's a lot more narrow. So I'll be reinstating the original plan. Marcos probably knew what he was doing. Da, 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 da. There we go. In the Lego room, in the position that I've got earmarked for it, and wow, it looks really good. It does, first impression, look a little short, as we've said throughout these two videos, but given what it's next to, and given that news brick store at the end of it, it is just kind of a steady step down from the Brick Artisan collaboration of Where Are My Pants, the kitchenware store, then the turquoise kind of half modular to make the spacings all work, which I'll probably make into a commercial building in due course, and then our new build, of course. You know, it's not too much of a step down each time, so it does look quite natural. I mean, it's not quite as high rise as this section over here, and it's definitely not going to be as high rise as the supermarket, which is on the corner garage sort of modular, but that goes up to about there, so that's going to dwarf it. But it's not so much just this view that is the issue, because I don't think I'm going to have it in this format, well, the rest of the buildings anyway, and that's because, well, in the old Lego room, having a straight road in front of a load of modulars in a row in front of a railway in a row didn't matter because it wasn't as long. But this is now just too linear to be exciting. So the road section that's kind of missing at the moment, I want to do something a lot more interesting with. In fact, if we go out right over here, then it looks even more of a boring setup from this direction. I mean, the train line being around the outside on that wall is inevitable, and we are going to have loads of facades against this wall breaking it up and making it a bit less linear, and that's why I like that car park breaking it up a little bit. And can we see our new station platform? Oh, kind of just. Not very much. But then with this whole row of buildings all in front of one another and then just a road going off into infinity, it really does look a bit boring. So essentially my plan is to have that road not only kink here to go over this new railway crossing that I've just put on, incidentally made with all of the parts, those 4x4 tiles and 1x8 tiles that came in the new brick cross station set that I didn't use at the very bottom level. So that's been great. Saved me a lot of money. So yeah, we're going to have this kink here in the road with a double curve, but then I'm going to have it coming out again, then going forward, then going back in again, and then going onwards. And I think that is what will make the whole scene a lot more interesting. Ooh, my feet. There we go. So what I think I'm going to do is have that T-junction turned 90 degrees to the left, and then have that coming out of the wall and continuing out, going around here, then going back in here. So we'll have to turn that one 90 degrees the other way, so it all works. And that means that this will stay where it is, but this one I think I will draw forward a base plate, have another one sideways on, kind of facing the hotel, and then have another corner one overlapping the front of this bit and the first section of that. So it'll be kind of like that. And then that will be obviously a corner. So yeah, that is how I'm thinking it will look. And the question is whether it still looks good and whether it looks really dwarfed when we've got a corner modular sat kind of half in front of it. That is my worry. Now, to make that a bit better, obviously we've already put it back 4 studs, so it's right up against the railway line, as you might imagine. There's the platform edge, and we can check our train will go right up to that, so that is pretty good. Like that a great deal. So I'm hoping that it won't be too sort of right on its doorstep, so to speak, and will allow you to kind of peer down what will be an alley down in front of the news brick, in front of that turquoise thing. And then obviously if that is a side-on modular facing that way, then it will just be the back of that and there'll be kind of like a yard scene. So we'll have a nice little street here. I might even do it in cobbles or something to make it look really old, and it'll make the whole sort of sub-district really interesting and make this what would have been incredibly straight road a lot more interesting by coming out there, going in there, and going in there. Yes, I won't be rotating that T-junction actually because there'll be a curve here. So yeah, I can mock up most of that now to show you what it'll look like, I think, and we can see whether it's totally overshadowed. But even if it is, you'll be able to definitely see it from this angle really well. So I think it'll just make things look a lot more interesting and a lot less linear. So yeah, let's get to that. All right, I've kind of put it in very roughly. So you can see now the street does go straight all the way up to the Where Are My Pants corner, which makes it an incredibly amazing feature on there. Then comes back out again. It's all not on the right level yet and so on, but we'll get that fixed after we're certain that's what we're doing. Yeah, so it'd take a turn there, round in front of this, and I put the brick bank there because it is a corner one, but it's also not too high. It's not the tallest one, unlike this one, for example, and that means it won't overshadow too much. Then the road goes round, back, and then continues on its merry way. So I think that's a much more interesting road pattern, but there you see now, this could do with being a little bit taller, our station. And you can see it from above, and you can see it round the corner from this angle, which will be very viewable from this standing hole. That is not going to change. But, you know, from the main, say, this standing position, you can barely see it at all. So this slot here will be, as I said before, a normal modular facing to our left. So that will be facing directly out. So that will form the back of the alley that will be essentially a very narrow thing down here. And maybe we can use our new ornate lamppost that we got as part of the Brick Cross Station set to light that up. But I think it looks great from this angle, and arguably even better from this one, and makes good use of our turquoise half modular in the fact that, well, you can barely see that from anywhere, so it's just kind of filler. I think that looks very realistic. It's only when you get to here and you can't see our new build at all that there's a problem. But I don't know, maybe that's a good thing about the city. Maybe it's so you can go, oh wow, there's a station around here I didn't even realise. So yeah, you'll have to let me know what you think of that. Now it will spill out a little more because I'm going to extend the seating area to fill up this pavement here, or at least a few studs worth anyway. And obviously I'll fill in all this so it looks nice, and maybe put something like a flower cellar, not an actual flower cellar because we've got one there, but you know what I mean, something small here. I'm going to have to change this crossing guard because of the high build of this side, it actually blocks it now. But I do have, from the last city where I had a similar problem, the only piece that isn't easily flippable, so I can have it opening from that side instead, and then I think it will be absolutely fine. Our train can go past, as I said. So yeah, I think it all works very well from this angle. Now, the other thing to consider, you remember for ages now I've been saying I'm considering having a racetrack in the streets of Brick Nottingham. That this is going to basically be that racetrack. This, all the way into here from the wall. In fact, they're going to come in here, do a bit of a chicane here, nice straight in front of the marina, which will be here, and then going back into the wall. So it doesn't completely dominate the city, but this whole loop will be locked off. We'll have sort of red and white checkers around the edge of it, and loads of people watching the Grand Prix or whatever it is, some sort of Formula event. And I think that'll be a really good scene to break up my roads even more. So the second benefit of doing this more intricate road system is it'll make that racetrack a lot more interesting. Because if it was just a come out of the wall, go straight along, go back in, it would be really dull. So yeah, I'm thinking that'll be a real feature, a real sort of Monaco Grand Prix type vibe when, you know, you've got all the expensive yachts and then you've got the motor cars racing past. I think that'll look really good. So yeah, do tell me what you think. What do you think of my new station from this angle? not a great deal. But from this angle, yeah, I think it does look good. It's not too sort of interfered with this whole setup. Now, another thing we could do as well to make it even less overshadowed is actually take these off their base plates and move them sort of 6 studs this way, so they start using some of the ones in front of them. But then again, I'm going to need some sort of space here for that racetrack type stuff as well, maybe some tiered seating and stuff like that, so maybe I don't have that to spare. Anyway, you get the idea of what I'm going for. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on it. This angle looks absolutely amazing. But yeah, it's not perfect from everywhere. But I still think having an incredibly straight road is just, well, boring as heck. So yeah, this, I think, is what I'm going to do. Well, you can see now why I was waiting for this wonderful set to come in, get built and put in the city, because it's kind of the linchpin which everything else revolves around. If this whole setup works, and I definitely like it from this angle, then, you know, it sets the roads, sets where the marine is going to be. We're going to have the Chinese ship over here rather than down here or something. You know, it all follows one from the other, defines where the racetrack is and everything else. So yeah, it was very important and was arguably the thing holding up progress. But now, if we get a consensus on whether this is staying here, we can really plow on. Looking forward to all of that. But yeah, in summary, this set is awesome. Get one if you can. They won't be around for long. I think early buyers thought that the price might rocket immediately, and it hasn't. So you can get one for a relatively reasonable price still. They may well skyrocket in the future. Who knows? But yeah, very cool indeed. And can we see our scenes on the platform? Oh, kind of just a rat there on the extreme left. Cool. Well, I'm glad that pushed back and integrated on that side so well. Very nice indeed. Cool. So as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. Do also tell me whether you like this configuration, whether you think it adds interest or hides it a little bit too much. And if you value this channel, there are many ways in which you can support it. Do check out the links in the description below. On Wednesday, we're doing a brick haul on our sister channel, Brick Haul O'Clock. And then on Friday, well, I think I'll be ploughing on with doing all of this, assuming you approve. Get all of the side build maybe done onto the street here, get this corner in, and maybe start thinking about all of that raceway stuff and getting this row of road plates supported from underneath. That would all be very productive. Oh, and before I paint myself into a corner, I need to get the monorail line above all of the railway tracks as well. Yeah, so lots and lots to do. Look forward to it. So until then, see you. Yeah, that looks very cool indeed. Very cool.